Today we'll continue the Maimer Ulekachtem Lachem that the Rebbe said on Yud Gimel Tishrei, the Yartzeit of the Rebbe Marash Tafshin Lametes, 1978, and it was edited by the Rebbe for Sukkot of the year Tafshin Nun 1989. Quick synopsis of the ideas that we learned in the Maimer. We learned about Yom HaRishon, that the first day, the Torah doesn't call it the 15th day, rather the first day, because it's the first day of the reckoning of sins. And the question that the Rebbe asks is, what does that have to do with Lulav and Esrog? And specifically, from the Medrash, it seems that Lulav and Esrog reveals the victory that the Jewish people won over the nations of the world from Rosh Hashanah, and it's a continuation for Rosh Hashanah. It's not a new thing. Why do we call it Yom HaRishon, which implies that it's a new idea? And the Rebbe went at length to explain the mitzvahs of Sukkot, that the mitzvah of Sukkah reveals the oneness of the Jewish people, but that's a oneness which is above separation. There's no separate entities. Everyone is one. It reveals the fact that everyone is one. Then after the mitzvah of Sukkah, we continue on into the mitzvah of Daled Minim, which that is a oneness that's brought into a separation. There's 4 separate things that show on 4 separate types of Jews, and in each one of the Daled Minim themselves, there is a separation. But it shows the oneness that's in the separation, and from that we go to a further point, which is bringing the Karbanis of Sukkot, that comes generally after the mitzvah of Daled Minim, which the Karbanis is the 70 bulls, which expresses and corresponds to the 70 nations of the world. We elevate through these Karbanis, we refine them, and that shows on an even greater idea of bringing the oneness even into the nations of the world, to the extent that as a result of these Karbanis, we say a complete Hallel on every day of Sukkot, because every day the carbon is different, which in Hallel we speak about Hallelu es Hashem kol goyim, shabechu kol umim, that the nations of the world praise Hashem for the fact that Gavar aleinu chazdai, that He powered and strengthened His kindness upon us. Not only do they agree to our victory, but they actually thank Hashem for it. And the Rebbe continued to bring the idea of what the Rebbe Marash says, that when a guy blesses you should answer Amen, because Amen is Avaya Adnai, that's bringing the godliness that's above the world into the world. And therefore the story with the Rebbe Marash, which was publicized by the previous Rebbe, because it's something which gives us the power as well, that when the Rebbe Marash traveled in a way that he wasn't used to traveling, and all the goyim that were there, they all bowed to him, for the fact that's the concept of Baruch Tia Mikol Amim, that the nations also bless you. Not only they don't stop you, not only they don't stand in the way, but when a Jew stands with the power, with the Teikef, with his strength, then he realizes that not only the nations not stop him from doing what he's supposed to do, but on the contrary, they actually help him, and they're transformed, that they thank Hashem for the victory of the Jewish people. And then the Rebbe explained that this all comes from Yechida. The power for the fact that we should have this all year comes from Sukkot. And what happens on Sukkot, that we get the power and the realization that when a Jew stands with Teikef, with strength, when a Jew stands and he doesn't take into account anything that goes around all around him, and on the contrary, he realizes that the very fact that there are things that stand in the way is only in order that he should also have the advantage of the avoid of nisyonis, of the avoid of tests, which otherwise he wouldn't have. Then what happens is that the Jew reveals his yichida, his essence, his power, and that power transforms everything that stands in the way. That not only it doesn't stand in the way anymore, but when he realizes this is a shlichus, this is his mission from Hashem, then Hashem helps him fulfill the mission, to the extent that all the things that used to be opposing and opposition, they are transformed and they become helpers to help him fulfill his shlichus. And the Rebbe says that in a way, that's even greater the very fact that the things which were first opposing, they're transformed into becoming helpers. That's the greatest dira b'tachtonim. That's revealing a dwelling place for Hashem in the lowest place, in the place of things that used to be in opposition, in the place of the nations of the Goyim, the nations of the world. And all of this comes through Yechida, because Yechida is what reveals the essence of godliness in everything, and as a result, this makes the ultimate dira b'tachtonim. Now the Rebbe continues to explain that this is why all of this happens specifically on Sukkot. Because Sukkot is the concept of revealing the Yechida. Sukkot, we know, is Vakesa L'Yom Chagenu. Everything that's hidden on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur becomes revealed on Sukkot. What's Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur and the Aseret Yimei Tshuva in general is the concept of Mimamakim. Mimamakim Krasicha Avaya, we call out to Hashem from the depths of the soul, but there's Mamakim, which is plural, two depths. The depth, which is the Chaya, the level of Chaya, and the depth of the depth, the deeper depth, which is the level of Yechida. On Rosh Hashanah, and Aseret Yimei Tshuva, and especially on Yom Kippur, we reveal the Yechida, and that's especially on Yom Kippur when it's the day, which is the one day in the year, where godliness is revealed in that day. And the one person, which is the Kohen Gadol, which is the Yechida of the nation, goes into the Yechida in place. So it's the Yechida in time, it's the Yechida in space, and the Yechida and people all coming together, and that's what's revealed on Yom Kippur. But on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur and Aseret Yimei Tshuva, it's in a way of concealment, which is why Aseret Yimei Tshuva is connected with crying, to the extent that it's brought down in the writings of the Arizal, that one who doesn't cry in the 10 days of Tshuva, his neshama is not complete. Which means that the whole idea of Aseret Yimei Tshuva is specifically connected to crying, which crying means squeezing, concealed, hidden. Whereas on Sukkot, it's Zman Simchaseinu, it's the time of joy, the time of rejoicing. That's when everything becomes revealed. All those things that in Rosh Hashanah and Kippur were hidden. Specifically, the idea of Yechida that was revealed on Rosh Hashanah and Kippur, but in a hidden way, in a crying way. On Sukkot, it becomes revealed in a joyous way, and on the contrary, the more joyous a person is, the more he brings that the revelation becomes greater and greater, because the nature of joy is that it takes hidden things and it reveals them. So Sukkot is the time when the Yechida is revealed. And it's because the Yechida is revealed, that's the time that we get the power through the Yechida to be able to reveal in everything in the world the reality that there's nothing but Hashem, and on the contrary, we reveal in even those things that seem to hold us back from doing what we're supposed to do, that their whole purpose is in order to actually help us do this. Now, in this revelation of Sukkot, there's two general levels. There's one level of revealing the Yechida in a general way, which that comes through sitting in the Sukkah. Sitting in the Sukkah is a more general Yechida, which is above separation, where everyone is equally there in the Sukkah as one. And then there's drawing it down in an internal way, because there's the Lulav and Esrig, which has to do with different levels. And we know that in general, the concept of Pnimi, internalizing something, when something becomes internalized, it comes specifically in different levels. That's the difference between Makif and Pnimi. I mean, if we look at it, the ideas of Makif and Pnimi, Makif is a house. A house, which is the general idea of Makif. Everyone's in the house equally. There's no separation. That's what Sukkah is. Sukkah is a house. There's no separation. There's no differences. Everyone walks into the same house. Clothing are also makif. They surround the person. But they're makif, which is already connected to the pnimi. Every person wears a different size of clothes. And yet the clothing that a person wears, one person can wear it, another person can wear it as well. It still has to be the right size. And there's different sizes, but there's a lot of people that can be wearing the same size. Food, you eat food, it's your own food. No one else eats the food that you ate, because food goes into you. It's internalized. It becomes part of you. The more something becomes part of a specific person, the more there's separate levels in it. So therefore, sukkah is a more general thing. That's the general unity. But the whole idea of lulav and esrog is to internalize it, to make it become part of us. Where there is separation, we bring down that oneness. Nevertheless, of Yechida, we bring down that oneness of the separation. And that's why we say that in lulav and esrog it corresponds to the 4 different types of Jews. 4 different types. Each one is on his own, separate. And even in the lulav and esrog themselves, there's the separation of the different aspects that there are in them. But we bring the oneness, the Yechida, we reveal the Yechida in there. And now the Rebbe says that's the ultimate thing that happens. Because what happens when you take that achdus, that oneness, that Yechida, and you reveal it into the different aspects and the different levels that there are within the Jewish people? Now the Jewish people, in truth, it's not really different levels, because Jews are goy echad ba'aretz. The Jewish people, in essence and in reality, are really one. But the fact is that we bring it into the different levels that outwardly are the different levels that are in a Jew, but that affects and that brings about that it becomes revealed in the world and amongst the nations of the world, and where there's real separation, that Yisrael in Netzuchaya, that the Jewish people are the ones that are victorious. Through that's revealed in the real multitudes, in the nations of the world, and that's the ultimate, the real Dira B'Tachtenim, that we reveal the Yechida, the oneness in the world, the way it is in the nations of the world, until all the different levels of the creations, of the different aspects that there are in the physical world. And that's the ultimate Dira B'Tachtenim. That now the 4 levels that there are amongst the Jewish people, that becomes revealed in the 4 levels that there are in the world, Atzilus, B'ri, Yetzir, Asiyah, the different types of worlds that have different levels of spirituality, and in all of them we're revealing the real essence of the oneness of Hashem until in the physical world down here, and even in the nations of the world, to the extent those who originally opposed the Jewish people will reveal the oneness of Hashem. Now that's why we say that the mitzvah of taking the 4 kinds, we said that reveals that the Jewish people are the ones who are victorious. We said why specifically is that mitzvah? There's an analogy, the idea that you're holding the weapons, but what is it really, how does it show it? So we say that's the reason, because since the 4 types means bringing the oneness, the Yechida, the real true oneness of Hashem into the separation of the 4 kinds. As a result, that brings it further into the ultimate and real separation, which is even the nations of the world, that not only do they recognize that the Jewish people are victorious, but they actually praise Hashem for the fact that the Jewish people were victorious. And then this causes the ultimate idea of Dira B'Tachtenim. Not just the fact that the Jewish people are victorious, but that's revealed in every aspect of the world. And this brings to the time of Mashiach, when in the time of Mashiach, as it says in the prophecy of Zechariah, every Jew will have 2,800 servants from the nations of the world that will hold on to the 4 corners of his talus. And from the fact that happens in the time of Mashiach, we already get a similar concept already now in the time of Galus. That even now already the nations of the world all recognize the greatness of the Jewish people, and that happens as a preparation for the time of Mashiach. Now we have an answer, and we can understand why it says Yom HaRishon, the first day. It's not just the 15th day. Yes, it's true, we start with the 15th day. We're revealing the victory of the Jewish people, which is from 15 days ago. But then a new thing happens, something new, a hischatshus. What did we explain? The whole greatness and the whole advantage of the oneness being revealed even in the nations of the world is that this is something new. The fact that a Jew is one with Hashem is not something new. Number one, it's not a Dira B'Tachtenim, it's not a dwelling place in the lowest possible place. But number 2, it's not a real change. It's just revealing something which is the truth anyway. Now the fact that we're changing It's the Yom HaRishon. The first day means it's a new existence. It's a new reality. Transforming something that earlier was separation and revealing instead in this oneness, which that's the ultimate idea of everything. That's the news, and that's why it's called Yom HaRishon, the first day. And that's also why the Chazal tell us that in the merit of the three Rishons, the three firsts, we merit to have also three Rishons, the three rewards of three Rishons, the resting on the Yom Tov of Pesach, resting on the Yom Tov of Sukkot, and taking the Lulav and Esrog. And the three Rishons is to get rid of the offspring of Esav, of Amalek, to build the Beis HaMikdash and to get to the name of Mashiach. Now, the idea of the ultimate is the Netilas Daled Minim, the taking the four kinds, which was that we merit the name of Mashiach. And that's because through the Daled Minim specifically, we fulfill the purpose of Dira B'Tachtonim even more than through Sukkah. Because in Sukkah it's a oneness which is above separation. Here it's a oneness which comes in separation. And as the Rebbe ends off with this, that Yiratzen, that from this Man Simchaseinu, the time of a rejoicing of Sukkot, we should come speedily to the greatest Simcha. The Simchas Eilam HaReisham, the joy that's upon our heads with the complete and true Geula, through Mashiach Tzidkeinu, may come and redeem us immediately, Mamish.